Let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up and just felt completely overwhelmed? Like the weight of your to-do list, your worries, and the chaos of life is already pressing down on your chest before your feet even hit the floor? Now what if I told you that the first step to regaining control, to actually changing your life, could start with something as basic as making your bed? Yeah, I know. It sounds almost too simple, but this idea doesn't come from just anyone. It comes from Admiral William H. McRaven, a former Navy SEAL commander who spent his life in one of the toughest, most disciplined environments on Earth. In his book, Make Your Bed, Admiral McRaven shares 10 powerful lessons he learned during SEAL training. And these lessons? They aren't just for soldiers. They're for you and me, for anyone who's ever struggled, failed, doubted, or simply wanted to be better. So don't scroll away, because what starts with a made bed could end with a life transformed. If you're serious about becoming your best self, hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the link in the description to get your own copy of this powerful book. Let's get started. Lesson 1. Start your day with a win. If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. That's the very first lesson Admiral McRaven shares. And at first you might smile or even roll your eyes. I mean, making your bed. Really? But here's the deeper truth. It's not about the bed. It's about you. About starting your day with structure, control, and pride. When you make your bed first thing in the morning, you're not just straightening sheets. You're telling yourself, I'm capable. I follow through. I finish what I start. It's a small victory, but it sets the tone for the rest of the day. Think about this. On the days when life feels chaotic, maybe you've had a tough meeting, a failed plan, or an argument, you still come home to that one corner of your world that's in order. A bed that's made. A sign that not everything is falling apart. It's a reminder that small actions matter. McRaven says that in Navy SEAL training, the smallest tasks were often the hardest, but they built habits of excellence. If you want to lead others, you must first lead yourself. So here's the challenge. What's the very first thing you do when you wake up? What if just starting tomorrow, you made your bed, took a breath, and began your day with a win? Try it. You might be surprised by what follows. Lesson 2. You can't go it alone. In Navy SEAL training, there's one rule that never changes. You always have a swim buddy. No one dives into freezing water alone. No one runs through the mud alone. No one faces the pain, the exhaustion, or the fear alone. Admiral McRaven explains that every SEAL trainee is paired with a partner. That swim buddy is your lifeline. You look out for each other, push each other, and sometimes carry each other. If one of you falls behind, the other is right there to lift you up. Now think about your own life. How often do we try to do everything by ourselves? We think asking for help is weakness. We carry burdens in silence. We push people away when we need them most. But the truth is, you can't go it alone. Whether you're building a dream, going through a breakup, raising kids, or fighting your own inner battles, you need people. We all do. Friends who listen, mentors who guide, family who loves. Even that one person who texts, "You okay?" on a rough day, they matter more than you know. McRaven's point is powerful. Strength doesn't come from doing it all yourself. Real strength is knowing when to lean on someone, when to link arms and walk through the storm together. So ask yourself, who's your swim buddy in life? And who can you be a swim buddy for? Because here's the truth. When things get dark, and they will, it's your people who bring you back to the light. And don't stop here, because the next chapter holds a lesson that can completely shift how you see failure, maybe for the rest of your life. Let's pick up where we left off. We just talked about the importance of not doing life alone. But now, let's talk about what really sets people apart, especially when the odds are stacked against them. In Navy SEAL training, Admiral McRaven recalls a group of trainees known as the Munchkin Crew. These guys were the smallest in the class, shorter, lighter. Physically, they didn't fit the stereotype of a hardcore SEAL. But here's the twist, they crushed it. They paddled faster. They pushed harder. They never complained. And they never gave up. They weren't the strongest, or the tallest, or the most impressive on paper. But they had something no one could measure: heart. And that's the message of this chapter. You don't need to look the part. You don't need a perfect resume. You don't need to come from privilege or have everything figured out. You just need grit, determination, the kind of fire in your chest that says, I won't quit no matter what. So let me ask you something real. Are you holding back because you think you're not enough? Not tall enough? Smart enough? Skilled enough? Because here's the truth McRaven learned again and again: life doesn't reward the most polished. It rewards the most persistent. Your background doesn't matter. Your setbacks don't matter. The only thing that matters is the size of your heart. And trust me, if you've got heart, you've already got what it takes. Don't skip the next chapter, because we're about to talk about failure in a way that might completely change how you respond the next time life knocks you down. Let's be honest, life can be brutally unfair. Good people suffer. Hard work doesn't always lead to success. And sometimes, despite doing everything right, things still go wrong. Admiral McRaven doesn't sugarcoat this. In SEAL training, he saw it firsthand. Some of the best, strongest and most prepared candidates got injured. Others were unfairly singled out. And yet complaining never helped. Comparing never helped. The only thing that helped was pushing forward. He tells a powerful story about a fellow trainee who lost a leg in combat and returned to training with a prosthetic. No bitterness, no complaints, just grit, just drive. Because here's the truth. Feeling sorry for yourself won't change your situation, but your attitude will. We all face moments when life hits hard. Maybe you lost someone. Maybe you're struggling financially. Maybe your dreams feel far away. But staying stuck in the mindset of why me will only make things worse. Instead, what if you stood back up, looked life in the eye, and said, I'm still here. I'm still moving. That's what McRaven means by drive on. Don't wait for life to be fair. It rarely is. Keep walking, keep pushing, keep showing up. And let me tell you the next chapter, it's going to hit even deeper. It's about failure, but not the way you've heard it before. If you've ever felt like giving up after falling down, don't miss this next part. Let's be honest, no one likes to fail. It feels bad, embarrassing, sometimes even hopeless. But Admiral McRaven wants us to understand something powerful. Failure is not the end. It can actually make you stronger. During Navy SEAL training, there was something called the circus. If you failed to meet the daily standards, like running slow or doing fewer push-ups, you were put on the circus list. That meant 2 extra hours of hard physical training after everyone else was done. It felt like a punishment, like you were falling behind. But guess what happened? The people who kept showing up to the circus every night got stronger. Day by day, they became faster, tougher, and better than before. The pain they went through, it prepared them to succeed later on. The lesson is clear. Failure isn't something to be afraid of. It's a chance to grow, a chance to prove how badly you want it. Think about a time you failed, maybe in school, at work, in a relationship. Did it make you give up, or did it push you to become better? If you're struggling now, remember, you might be in your own circus season, and that's where real strength is built. Don't leave yet. The next chapter is all about courage, and it's not what most people think it is. Keep watching, because this is where real transformation begins. Let's go deeper. In the last chapter, we talked about failure and how it can make you stronger. But sometimes, the real test isn't about failing or succeeding. It's about daring to try in the first place. Admiral McRaven shares a powerful memory from his SEAL training, a night swim under a ship in complete darkness. No flashlight, no backup, just the cold ocean, tight spaces, and the possibility that danger might be lurking in the shadows. Imagine that swimming blind under a giant ship with only your training and courage to guide you. That moment wasn't just about strength. It was about facing fear head-on. That's what daring greatly means. It's not the absence of fear. It's action despite fear. It's trusting yourself when everything in you wants to turn back. It's knowing the mission. Your mission in life is bigger than your doubts. And here's the truth. If you want to build a meaningful life, you can't play it safe. The comfort zone might feel good, but nothing grows there. So ask yourself, what would you do if fear wasn't holding you back? Start a business? Speak your truth. Walk away from something that no longer serves you. The next chapter of your story might be sitting right behind your biggest fear. And if you leave now, you'll miss the insight that could change how you deal with pressure forever. Keep going because the next lesson is a game changer. Here's something nobody likes to admit. No matter how kind, talented, or hardworking you are, there will always be people who try to tear you down. Some do it with words, others with silence, with looks, with subtle comments that hit harder than punches. They want control. They want fear. They want you to shrink. Admiral McRaven learned this the hard way during Navy SEAL training. Instructors intentionally used humiliation, pushing, shouting, laughing to break the weak. But something surprising happened. The trainees who stood tall, who didn't snap, didn't argue, didn't shrink, earned a different kind of respect. They showed strength, not by fighting back with anger, but by refusing to give away their power. McRaven's message is simple. Bullies thrive on weakness. So if you want to stop them, don't match their cruelty, rise above it. Show calm, show grit, show that nothing they say can define who you are. And this doesn't just apply in the military. It happens in offices, schools, even families. Maybe you've met a bully. Maybe you've been bullied by your own doubts. Whatever the case, here's what you need to know. The moment you stop letting them control your emotions is the moment you take your power back. And when you stand strong, you give silent permission for others to do the same. But stay with me, because what's coming next might be the most important lesson of all. It's about chaos, disaster, the moments when everything goes wrong, and how you show up when the storm hits. That's what defines your future. Let me ask you something. What do you do when life throws you off balance? Not with a disaster, but with something small, unexpected, unfair. Do you lose your cool, or do you stay grounded? Admiral McRaven shares a moment from SEAL training that perfectly illustrates this. One day, during a uniform inspection, a trainee showed up looking absolutely perfect. Every crease, every fold, every button spotless. But the instructor still tore into him, shouted in his face, picked apart his uniform for no real reason. Why? Because it wasn't about the uniform. It was a test of his composure under pressure. And the trainee passed not by defending himself or arguing, but by staying calm, standing tall, and taking it with quiet strength. This is the real lesson. Life won't always test you with obvious battles. Sometimes it's in the small, unexpected moments, a rude comment, a failed plan, a sudden disappointment, when you're asked to prove who you really are. Can you stay steady when life feels unfair? Can you rise above irritation, confusion, or ego? Because real power isn't just about strength, it's about grace under pressure. So the next time something throws you off, pause, breathe. Remember, this might be your moment to rise. And don't stop now. The next chapter is about the darkest, most dangerous part of SEAL training and how it teaches the most beautiful truth about hope. Have you ever been in a situation where everything felt hopeless? Where the weight of life pressed down so heavy, it felt like there was no way out? In one of the toughest moments of SEAL training, Admiral McRaven recalls a night known as Hell Week. Trainees were forced into freezing cold mud, shoulder to shoulder, shivering uncontrollably, soaked to the bone. The instructors told them they could leave at any time, just ring the bell. That's all. And many were ready to quit. Then something incredible happened. One man just once started to sing. His voice cracked. He was cold too, but he sang anyway. At first it sounded ridiculous, but then another joined, and another. Before long, the whole group was singing together, loud, off-key, but united. That single act of courage didn't change the temperature or stop the pain, but it gave them something even more powerful: hope. And that's what this chapter is all about. Hope is contagious. Sometimes, all it takes is one voice to remind others that they're not alone. One small act of bravery, one smile, one encouraging word. You don't need to be the strongest in the room. You just need to be the light, even if it flickers when others are in the dark. Think about it. Who in your life needs hope right now? And better yet, how can you be the one to offer it? Because when you give people hope, you don't just change their day. You can change their life. And speaking of changing lives, the final lesson from Admiral McRaven may be the most empowering of all. Don't leave now. What's coming next could completely shift how you see your role in the world. Here's the final and most important lesson Admiral McRaven gives us. Never ring the bell. In Navy SEAL training, there's a brass bell that sits in the center of the compound. It's not hidden. It's right there in the open. And anytime a trainee feels overwhelmed, broken, or just tired of it all, they can walk up to that bell and ring it. No judgment, no shouting, just ring it and it's over. But once you do, your journey ends. Your chance to become a SEAL gone. McRaven's point? Life has a bell too. There will be moments when everything in you wants to give up. When the job is too hard, the dream feels too far, or the pain is too heavy. But the people who succeed, who grow, who inspire, they are the ones who keep going, even when every part of them wants to stop. It's not about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. So here's the question. What's the bell in your life? And what would happen if you chose not to ring it? Because that moment when you decide to keep going, that's when the real transformation begins. And if you've made it this far, you're already proving you won't quit. Make Your Bed might be a short book, but the impact it leaves, that's lifelong. These lessons aren't wrapped in fancy language or complicated theories. They're simple, direct, but don't confuse simple with easy. Making your bed in the morning isn't about neat sheets. It's about starting your day with intention. Asking for help doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Showing heart when others give up, that's how greatness begins. And facing unfairness without bitterness, that's strength. You'll fail. We all do. But what you choose to do after failure, that's what defines you. Will you take risks? Will you stand up when others push you down? Will you hold your ground in the storm and be a light for others in the dark? This book isn't just a message from a Navy admiral. It's a challenge to all of us. You don't have to be a SEAL to live with courage, grit, and purpose. You just have to keep showing up every single day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And if you do, you won't just change your life. You might just change the world. Let's begin one small task at a time. If this video moved something in you even just a little, then do me a small favor, hit that like button. Not just to support the channel, but to help someone else out there, someone who might really need this message today. Subscribe if you're serious about leveling up, about building habits, growing grit, and learning how to lead yourself first before leading anything else. And most importantly, don't just leave inspired. Take action. grab your own copy of Make Your Bed through the link in the description. This isn't a book you read once and forget. It's one you come back to when you're tired, when you're doubting, when you need strength. And if you loved this, you'll want to check out the other life-changing books we've covered, like Atomic Habits by James Clear or Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. They're more than books, they're blueprints for building a resilient life. Thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up. Now go and make your bed, because that one small choice, it might just change everything.